Slide the Corner by Fleur, Beale. New Zealand writer. Chapter 1. I dreamed of being a rally driver. Mom and Dad didn't know that. If they had, they'd have hit me over the head every night with a log of wood. Not really, but you get what I mean. I loved cars. They didn't. So there was a mark against me. The biggest mark against me, though, was that I was the dumb one in the family of brains. Thick as crude oil, my father said, at least once every week. It'd gone up to once a day when I got my school certificate results. Ever been in a tornado? It's not nice, I can tell you. You'd wonder how a guy could yell for 40 minutes without stopping. But that's what Dad did. I reckon he'd been practicing because he didn't even say anything twice. He said things like, "Why couldn't I be like Kitty, my older sister, a brain? Why couldn't I be like William, my younger brother, a brain? Why couldn't I be like them?" "I don't know," I said. "I guess you didn't give me the right genes." That was a mistake. It was good for another 10 minutes of raving. But the worst thing he did was to stop me from driving. An idiot who can't even pass an exam shouldn't be let loose on the roads, was his opinion. Mom didn't say anything. She just went around with a pained look on her face, frowning and looking at me like she was measuring me up for a coffin. She was, too, sort of. "Greg," she said, "next year you're going to do school certificate again. I'll help you study every night." Far out. Was all pretty boring the first time. Now, all my life I've been good. Sick maybe, but good. When Mom said that instead of going into the sixth form, I was to do the fifth form all over again, I never even thought of saying I wouldn't. I too wished I was like Kitty or William. When I was younger, I used to think maybe I was adopted. But I look too much like Mum. Our hair is the same color, but it looks better on her. Bright gold hair on a guy looks a bit stink. My face is all my own, though, sort of bony. So when I got to thinking that before I was born, Mum must have had an affair with some guy who was thick like me. That was until I noticed that my thumbs stuck out the exact same way Dad's do. Bummer. I was the kid, all right, and I was thick. I didn't like it, and they didn't like it. They tried to treat me the same as they treated Kitty and William. They asked us all that we wanted for Christmas. Kitty wanted a new flute. William wanted a bigger telescope. No problem. I thought of saying I wanted a car. Dream on. A dog, I said. I'd like a dog. I could take him with me when I rode my bike. Well, forget about a dog. They don't just say no, my parents. They give you all the reasons why not, until you wish you'd kept your mouth shut in the first place. I got 10 minutes of why I couldn't have a dog. That's pretty good when you think about it. You try going on for 10 minutes about why dogs are out. without repeating yourself. They were good at it, my parents. They were both scientists, so maybe that helped. So, no dog. They got me a computer instead of my very own. We already had a computer. Mom and Dad said a computer was a tool, not a toy. So, you don't play games on it. I never used it. I shoved the new computer in a corner of my bedroom, dusted it once a week, and called it a rover. I spent most of January riding around on my bike, especially after the exam results came out. It's funny thing about summer holidays. Time goes faster than during the term, and then school started. Every other senior student in the whole country goes to school and enrolls for the year by themselves. Not me. Mom made an appointment to see Mrs. Christie, the fifth form dean, and dragged me along too. Greg is going to repeat the fifth form, said Mom. Mrs. Christie tried to talk her out of it. She might as well have talked to an answering machine. So I went back into the fifth form and did the same stuff all over again. It was so boring. When I got home, it was worse. Mom made me go through every lesson all over again. Dad said, "You're wasting your time, Mary. The boy's thick as crude oil." With a brain like his, you'd think Dad would be able to think of something different to say, but I reckon he liked saying thick as crude oil. He said it enough. Mom frowned at me. "Larry, nobody, but nobody is going to say I have a son who can't learn." Great. We were doing all this just so Mom's friends wouldn't say I was thick. Kitty'd have something to say about that, but she wasn't at home anymore. She was at the university in Auckland studying music. I missed Kitty. As for William, I didn't know what William thought about me. He never said much. Too busy looking through his telescope at the stars. I listened to Mum and Dad going on about me. It was nice to hear, but it gave me a break from studying. I put up with it for another week. On Thursday, I was riding home, slowly. Then I saw the car. It was parked at the corner shop, and it was Sierra Cosworth. I got off my bike for a closer look. Yes, it was Cosworth. It had the airfoil on the back and the louvres in the bonnet. It sat lower to the road than the ordinary Sierras. Now, I had ridden around every car yard in Hamilton on weekends, but I hadn't seen a Cosworth before. I leaned the bike on a lamppost and walked around the car. I read about them in a magazine in the library. That's another thing I do on Saturdays. Go to the library, read car magazines. I'd asked Dad once if I could buy one. Fallen world, a Mandarin doesn't buy car magazines. The Mandarin kids didn't have their own money either. Anything they wanted, they just asked for. Which was all right if you're Kitty and wanted music for your flute. Just ask and you get given. Same for William. Stars are okay. If he'd wanted a star, They'd have run somebody and found out how to buy one. Too bad for Craig. Cars are just things to get you from one place to another. Who needs to read about cars? Anyway, I had read about this one. It was one of the fastest road cars you could buy. You also had to be able to drive well to handle one of these. A bit like driving a racing car. Dad would hate it. I pictured him trying to cope with the high ratio first gear. He'd never be bothered flicking up and down between the other gears for cornering. Dad trashed one poor old Hunter station wagon. Never changed gear until the engine got up and begged him to. The Cosworth's owner came out of the shop. He grinned a bit, then he saw me looking and got in and drove away. I listened to the engine. Yeah, he handled it okay. I stared after it until it turned the corner at the top of the hill. Then I looked at the time. Mama! Even if I hurried, I was going to be 10 minutes late. Mom would go ape. It was a hot day, one of those you get in Hamilton at the end of February, beginning of March. The tar was melting. It sucked at my tires as though it wanted to swallow them, the bike and me. I thought about that. You are late, Greg. Sorry, Mom, the road ate me. I rode slowly. It was too hot to hurry, and I was late anyway. I got to the corner of our road. I should have turned right. Instead, I kept going down to the river. Greg, baby, are you ever going to be in trouble this time? I coasted down the path, then walked until I was beside the water. I leaned the bike against a tree, climbed onto a branch that stuck over the river, and dangled my feet in the water. Further along, kids were jumping, splashing around and yelling. It didn't worry them that the Waikato River was supposed to be polluted. At first, I just sat there, feeling kind of bad about wigging my session with Mum. Then I started to think, why was I doing what they wanted me to? Why? Because I'm thick and dumb and stupid. I started to daydream. I was driving a rally car, sliding into a corner, stones shooting out under the wheels. I grinned. Boy, would they freak if I went home and told them I wanted to do that? Then I stopped grinning. Had a whole year of misery ahead of me. Mom nagging at me to study. Dad jeering at me for being thick. What was I going to do with my life anyway? Dad always said I could find a job cleaning toilets. Mom was terrified I'd end up on the dole. None of her friends had kids on the dole. I wanted to be a rally driver, a dream, an impossible dream. I threw sticks into the water. The ducks chased them, tried to eat them. Ducks are thick, like me.